The first myth is you need to shoot in manual mode to be a real photographer. Let's talk about shooting in manual mode. There's this myth that you're not a real or pro photographer unless you shoot in manual mode, but that is simply not true. Manual mode gives you complete control over your exposure settings, but it's not the only way to get professional results. Many professional photographers use mode like aperture priority because it offers flexibility and efficiency without compromising creative control. If you're shooting in a fast-paced environment like sports or street photography, you often don't have the time to adjust everything manually. In situations like these, switching to aperture priority or even program mode can help you get the shot without missing the moment. What do you think a pro is? Someone who doesn't miss the shot or someone who always shoots in manual mode? Manual mode is powerful when you have time to adjust. But if you're trying to capture action or need to be quick, don't feel like you're less of a photographer for relying on other modes. It is there for a reason. Program modes existed since way back in film photography days. It's all about making the right choice for the moment. Next big one is post-processing is cheating. Some people think that editing your photos ruins the integrity of the image. This happens a lot in the film photography community, #NoEdit. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Even in the film days, photographers were editing their photos in the darkroom, cropping and tweaking contrast by push developing. These were all part of the process. Post-processing is simply a continuation of creative process. You took the photo, now it's time to make them. It's not about cheating or tricking anyone. It's about enhancing the image to reflect your creative vision. After all, we are viewing photography as a form of art, not just documentation that needs to be true to life at all costs. Think of post-processing as a tool that allows you to refine your vision and tell the story you want to tell. I am fine with #NoEdit, do what you like, but I find it a bit funny when those people feel proud about the no edit and try to bash other people who edit their photos. I love taking photos, but I also love making photos. You get to really express yourself in the process. So if you love to edit, don't be ashamed, there are so many editing softwares. It is not cheating. Next myth is perfect exposure and sharpness is what determines a good photo. This is one that holds a lot of photographers back, especially beginners. The idea that every photo needs to have perfect exposure where the highlights and shadows are balanced and the histogram is right in the middle is simply too limiting and unnecessary. Sometimes deliberately overexposing or underexposing your shots can create an entirely new mood. Overexposing a photo can result in a soft, dreamlike qualities, while underexposing can add mystery or intensity to the image. These effects can elevate the emotion of your photo, giving it a unique character. And let's talk about sharpness. Yes, sharpness matters, but it is not end-all be-all in photography. Sometimes blurred shot, even if it was an accident, can have a very strong artistic value. It might end up being a stronger image than if that photo was perfectly sharp. And famous photos from photographers from the generations before us were all shot on film. It has much lower resolution, but it didn't stop them from producing powerful images. So next time you're out shooting, don't stress about getting the exposure just right or taking the sharpest photo possible at every chance, shooting at the optimal f-stop where your lens is the sharpest. Play with it, experiment with pushing those boundaries, and see how it changes the feel of your images. Photography is about creativity and expression, not perfection. Next is avoid high ISO at all costs. This one might have been true back in the early digital camera days when high ISO settings turned your photos into a mess. But today, cameras are so advanced that avoiding high ISO is no longer necessary, and in some cases, it's counterproductive. The role of ISO is to let you shoot in low light conditions without sacrificing your shutter speed or aperture. Sure, higher ISO can introduce some noise, but modern cameras handle noise so well that they're barely noticeable. Also, you can get rid of them in post as well. The bigger issue is when people avoid high ISO so much that they compromise their exposure. If you keep your ISO too low in a dimly lit setting, you'll likely end up with blurry shots from a slow shutter speed or underexposed image you'll have to brighten too much in post. And too much of brightening the shadows often introduces even more noise than just bumping up your ISO in the first place. So don't always go for the lowest ISO possible. Choose the ISO settings that meet your needs. High ISO is okay. Next myth is better camera equals better photos. This myth is a dangerous one because it is connected directly to money. It makes you believe that you need the latest, most expensive camera or lens to take incredible photos. Gear matters, yes, it actually does, and I will make a whole video about it. But it's not the most important factor in creating great images. What really makes a difference is your skill, vision, and how well you understand the equipment you're already using. Great photography is about knowing how to use your tools to express your vision, not about having the best gear. If you're always chasing the next upgrade, you might miss out on developing the skills that actually make a difference. You're less focused on what actually matters. Sure, better gear can give you more flexibility and some added benefits like faster autofocus, better low light performance, and sharper images. But no amount of high-end equipment will make up for a lack of vision or technique. So stop obsessing over gear and focus more on improving your photography skills. One of my biggest pet peeve is, wow, nice photo. You must have a nice camera. Next myth is gear doesn't matter. I know we just talked about how gear doesn't define your photos, but here's where we need to clarify. Gear does matter, just not in the way that many people think. It's not about having the most expensive, latest equipment, but choosing the right gear for the type of photography you do. Another pet peeve of mine is watching or hearing gear doesn't matter from people who have the top of the line, most expensive gears. Gear can affect a lot of aspects in photography. Depth of field of view, difference between being able to capture fast moments or not, and most importantly, even motivation. So don't feel bad that you're upgrading your camera because you need it. Tune out this noise about gear doesn't matter. Gear does matter, so get the one that works for you. Either that's in a technical way or in an emotional way. Next, zoom lenses are bad. Only use prime lenses. This is one of the most common myths that I heard. While prime lenses are amazing, the idea that zoom lenses are bad just doesn't hold up. This is thrown around because prime lenses give you a constraint by getting you fixed into a focal length. And with constraint, creativity can follow. You will get familiar with a focal length and that will get you to be a better photographer. And prime lenses have other advantages. They're often sharper, lighter, and can have wider apertures, which is great for low light and creating that creamy bokeh. And I do prefer them because they're smaller in size too. But the idea that you must use prime lenses to be a serious photographer is not true. Zoom lenses offer something that primes can't, flexibility. With a zoom lens, you can quickly adjust your focal length to frame your shot exactly how you want. No need to switch lenses or physically move closer, which might not even be possible in some cases. And modern zoom lenses are incredibly sharp. Technology has come a long way, and many high-quality zooms can easily compete with primes in terms of their image quality. Plus, they save you from carrying multiple lenses, which is a huge win for travel photography, where you need to stay light. So while prime lenses are fantastic tools, don't let this myth make you feel like you're cheating or less of a photographer by using a zoom. It's not about the type of lens you're using, it's about how you use it to tell your story. Next, always keep the horizon straight. This is one of those rules that's been drilled into every beginner photographer's head, but it's not set in stone, especially for street photography. Sometimes, tilting the horizon can add a sense of drama or energy to the image. It can give the viewer a feeling of motion or tension. This is especially true in action shots or when you want to create a sense of unease or creativity. Don't be afraid to break this rule. Think about the mood you want to create and adjust the horizon to suit your vision. So these are some of the photography myths that I've come across that I wanted to save you guys from. Is there any photography myth that you believed in for a long time before you broke it? Let me know down in the comment section. And if you like this content, then please give me a like and subscribe to the channel because it really helps out small channels like mine by pushing my content out to more viewers. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.